What is going on, guys? Drew YGO here, and we are back with another deck profile. Today we're looking at a new archetype that just got announced somewhat recently, Rescue Ace. It is a group of fire machines and fire warriors, which is really cool because I do love me some machine types, and I haven't seen a lot of fire machines in the game. It's a really cool archetype based off of a lot of interruptions during your opponent's turn, setting up your board with like a bunch of monsters that can special summon themselves or another card if your opponent does anything. They do have this interesting thing, I guess, with their aesthetic that their attack equals their defense, so we do have a little engine from outside the archetype in the deck list. But I wanted to go ahead and make a deck list because I really like the aesthetic. They're like fire truck based monsters, and they've got a whole slew of really awesome spells and traps. So we'll go ahead and get into it. First off, we have 3 copies of Rescue Ace Turbulence. This is, I guess, your boss monster. I wouldn't really argue that there is a boss monster, but if there was, it would be this one. You can banish 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play spells and or normal traps. You heard that correctly. 4 different spells and traps from your deck. This card is a +4. That's insane. If another card or cards you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. That's also a really insane effect too, and it's also level 9. So if they ever bring this to Master Duel, you can go into very fun dragon with this. But we do run a couple level 9 Xyz monsters. But all around, this is a really solid card, especially with the support from these spells and traps. Next, we have 2 copies of Rescue Ace Fire Engine. If a Rescue Ace monster or monsters other than Rescue Fire Ace Engine is normal or special to your side of the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a monster or monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Rescue Ace monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. This is also an insanely good card. Really good for recurring a lot of your lost resources. If a few of your Rescue Aces went to the graveyard, let's say they were destroyed by your opponent, you can play Rescue Ace Fire Engine and either get them back on the field or special summon directly from deck. And yeah, you can special summon your Turbulence or your Fire Attacker or even your Hydrant, which is very important to the deck. We'll get into that later. Next, we have 2 copies of Rescue Ace Fire Attacker. If a Rescue Ace monster or monsters other than Rescue Ace Fire Attacker is normal or special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a card or cards is added to your opponent's hand, except by drawing it, you can draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. You can only use each effect of Rescue Ace Fire Attacker once per turn. Very easy to special summon, and even in dire circumstances, it is very easy to I guess tribute summon. But that effect where it allows you to draw 2 cards and then discard 1 when your opponent let's say searches their deck or activates Pot of Prosperity, you also get to gain some advantage off of that as well. Next up, for the warrior monsters, for the first of the few normal monsters, warrior monsters, that we're running, is Rescue Ace Air Hoister. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add a Rescue Ace spell from your deck to your hand. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, you can tribute this card from your hand or field to special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your hand, except for another copy of himself. This is also just incredible, right? You normal summon it, you get access to your field spell, you can get any of your other spells or traps that you may need, and also, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can tribute it from your field or in your hand to special summon another Rescue Ace from your hand. Let's say if you have your boss monster or your high level monsters, you can go ahead and special summon them out right here if your opponent activates a monster effect, just for some added interruption. Next, we have 2 copies of Rescue Ace Impulse. During your main phase, you can choose 1 effect monster your opponent controls with the highest attack, and neither player can activate that monster's effects on the field this turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, you can tribute this card from your hand or field to special summon one Machine Rescue Ace monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of Rescue Ace Impulse once per turn. I think this is slightly better than the Air Hoister in that you can summon any of your machine types straight from the deck. And if you summon your Turbulence off of that, next turn you go +4 because you get to set directly from your deck all of your spells and traps, which is remarkable. I think this archetype is insanely fun. But next up we have the most important part of the deck, I think, is Rescue Ace Hydrant. While you control a Rescue Ace monster other than Rescue Ace Hydrant, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Rescue Ace Hydrant once per turn. You can activate one quick play spell card or trap card set by your Rescue Ace cards the turn it was set. During your main phase, you can add a Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand except for Hydrant. Searches out your whole deck for a potential combo piece you may need. It can't be targeted for an attack or by a card effect if you control another one of your Rescue Aces. And it even allows your spells and traps to gain a more powerful effect, but we will get into that. Next, we're running 3 copies of Ash Blossom, not only because it's one of the best hand traps in the game, but it was also fire type, so I thought it was cute to put her in there, right? Next up, we have a few Gizmek cards, because Gizmeks have this gimmick with, like, monsters whose attack equal their defense. So we're running the 1 copy of Gizmek Teniguku, the Immobile Intellect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can take a machine monster whose attack equals its own defense from your deck, place it on top of your deck. That can be, I guess, kind of good if you want to get your Hydrant on top or pretty much any of your main guys on top, but you'll mainly be using it for this effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one machine monster in your graveyard whose attack equals its own defense, and special summon it in defense position. You can only use each effect of Gizmek Teniguku once per turn. This is good, so let's say that you have one of your good machines in your graveyard and you've already used the effect of Gizmek Teniguku, he's in the graveyard. You can then special summon him out, then go into your spell and trap plays. Next, we're running the 1 copy of Gizmek Arakami. If you control a machine monster whose attack equals its own defense, you can special summon this card from the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a machine monster you control whose attack equals its own defense. Send a machine monster from your deck to the graveyard whose attack equals its own defense with a lower level than the targeted monster. And if you do, that targeted monster gains attack and defense equal to the level of that monster sent to the graveyard times 100. These two combo very well together. You can Foolish Burial a machine to the graveyard, then you can use Teniguku to special summon it from the graveyard. So, really good synergy there. Next, we're running the 3 copies of Gizmek Naganaki, the Sunrise Signaler. You contribute 1 machine monster whose attack equals its own defense. Special summon from your deck 1 machine monster whose attack equals its own defense with a level lower than the attributed monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add it to your hand. Add to your hand 1 of your banished face-down machine monsters. You're not going to be really using that effect at all, but you're mainly going to be using it for you normal summon this card, you tribute itself, and then you can special summon your Hydrant directly from the deck. And if you have any of your spells and traps in hand, it really boosts that, and you get a search off of Hydrant anyway. So all around, incredibly good. It is kind of bad that you do have to use your normal summon for it, but it's whatever. We make do, right? Alright, that's it for the monsters, so we'll go ahead and start off with our 1-ofs. We are running 1 copy of 1-for-1 to get your Hydrant, 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, for obvious reasons, and 1 copy of Foolish Burial to send your Teniguku straight to from deck to grave. Next, we have 3 copies of Rescue. Target 1 Rescue Ace monster in your graveyard, or if you control Rescue Ace Hydrant, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard instead. Special summon it to your field. You can only activate 1 Rescue per turn. It's literally Monster Reborn. Not only is it like Monster Reborn for yourself, but it's actually the effect of Monster Reborn if you have Hydrant on the field. So you can special summon one of your opponent's destroyed boss monsters. That Baron de Flora that they just used, mine now, right? So and it can be set directly from your deck by Turbulence. So just a lot of interruption that you can do. Even if they try to activate some kind of effect in the graveyard, you can special summon it to your field to kind of, I guess in a way, negate that effect. So really, really good card. Next up we have 3 copies of Alert. Add 1 Rescue Ace monster from your graveyard to the hand. Or, if you control a Rescue Ace Hydrant, you can add 1 Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand instead. Obviously this is a great card. It searches out all of your monsters. Or you can add 1 from your graveyard to your hand if you have no more copies of that card. So all around, very great card. Because a lot of these cards do have effects when your opponent activates something, having a card in the hand is really good because you can tribute the Air Hoister, you can tribute the Impulse to special summon from your hand or your deck off of Alert. So these are just really, really powerful, really, really fun cards. Next we have 3 copies of Rescue Ace Headquarters. It is a field spell. While your opponent controls a monster, Rescue Ace monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Rescue Ace monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Once per turn, you can target 4 of your Rescue Ace cards that are banished and or in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. First off, it gives you an extra normal summon, which is incredible. You get this on the field, you use your Hydrant, you normal summon your Hydrant, you add a card from deck to hand with Hydrant, and you get an extra normal summon. So that's a really good effect, but also it allows you to shuffle back 4 of your Rescue Ace cards from the graveyard to draw a card. And since Turbulence sets 4 cards directly from deck, you can shuffle back all of your spell cards and trap cards and draw a card off of that. Just to reset all of your spells, because this is once per turn, it's not just when it's summoned. So you can keep recycling all of your spells and traps with the field spell. So it's really good, but the thing I like about it is it's not completely, the deck doesn't completely depend on the field spell, which I do like. It's just an added layer of consistency for the deck. Next, we're running the 3 copies of Contain. If you control a Rescue Ace monster, target 1 effect monster your opponent controls. This turn, that effect monster cannot attack. Its effects are negated. Also, if you control a Rescue Ace Hydrant, it cannot be used as material for a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link summon. Wow. This is a negate. It locks it out of attacking. And if you control Hydrant, they can't use it for anything. They can't use it for a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link summon. They can't use it for any kind of extra deck plays whatsoever if you contain it. Just a beautiful piece of interruption that can be, again, and I can't stress this enough, set directly from deck. Finally, we're running 3 copies of Extinguish. If you control a Rescue Ace monster, target an effect monster your opponent controls, destroy it. And if you control Hydrant, this turn your opponent cannot activate the effects of the destroyed monster with the same original name. So let's say that you pop a card that has a graveyard effect while you control a Hydrant. They can't activate that effect in the graveyard anymore. Or if they have an effect when it's destroyed, they can't activate it. Because Extinguish, when you have Hydrant on the field, your opponent cannot activate the effects of the destroyed monster. Or monsters with the same original name. So, like I said, guys, this is really powerful. It may not be meta-defining, but I think it can go toe-to-toe with a lot of these newer decks, and I really enjoy that. Finally, for the extra deck, we're running a bunch of generic Xyz monsters, but I did put in the Dyson Sphere, because I do love this card, and it's very good for stalling, I guess. Next, we're running the 1 copy of 9 Lives Cat, able to revive a monster from either player's graveyard. Next, we're running the 1 copy of Draco Sack, just for popping and, I guess, kind of stalling in a way, because it can't be destroyed by battle when it has a token on the field. Then we're running the Big Eye to gank an opponent's monster, a Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon for big numbers, 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, 1 copy of Evil Storm Ixaton Knight, 1 copy of Access Code Talker, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, a copy of Nightmare Phoenix, Isolde, 2 Tales of Noble Knights, Nightmare Cerberus, IP Masquerina, Link Karibo, and Salamangrate Almaraz. So that's the deck list. We're going to get into some replays. I don't have many, but we are going to get into some replays. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really loving this new archetype. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments, and let me know what you would change about the deck. I hope you enjoyed. This has been Drew YGO.
Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo.